The sound of rain hitting the roof was loud that night. In a small, broken-down room with cracks in the walls, John sat on the floor with his head buried in his knees. His clothes were old and torn, his stomach growled from hunger, and the only light in the room came from a small candle. John was just 10 years old, but his life was already full of pain. His father had passed away in an accident when John was only a baby. His mother worked as a housemaid, earning just enough to buy bread and rice for John and his younger brother Sam. Their home was a tiny, cold room in a slum. Every corner of the house spoke of poverty, but John's eyes carried a fire that no one could put out. One evening, John saw his mother come home with tears in her eyes. She didn't say anything, but he knew. Her employer had yelled at her for being late to work. She had been late because she stopped to buy medicine for Sam, who was sick with a fever. That night, as John watched his mother silently eat a piece of dry bread, he made a promise to himself one day. I will make her proud. One day, I will take her away from this pain. John started helping his mother from the next day. He would clean tables at a nearby tea shop after school. His hands were small, but his determination was big. Sometimes, customers would leave behind half-eaten food, and John would secretly pack it for his brother and mother. But life wasn't kind to John. At school, the other children laughed at him. Look at his dirty clothes, they would say. He smells like garbage. Their words hurt, but John didn't let them stop him. He had one dream. He wanted to study hard and change his life. One day, something happened that changed everything. John's teacher gave him an old, second-hand book in English. John, she said, if you learn this language, you can do great things. John didn't understand much of the book at first. The words looked strange, and he felt frustrated. But he remembered his promise to his mother. So, every night, after finishing his work at the tea shop, he would sit by the candlelight and read. He sounded out each word slowly, writing them down in a notebook he had found in the trash. Months passed, and John started to improve. He began writing small sentences and practicing speaking English by talking to himself. But his struggles were far from over. One day, the tea shop owner caught John reading during his break. You're wasting time, the owner yelled. Go clean the tables. Books won't feed your family, the words hurt. But John didn't argue. He cleaned the tables, but that night he read even more than usual. John's determination began to pay off. At school, he surprised his teacher by answering a question in English. Well done, John, she said, smiling. For the first time in his life, John felt proud of himself. As the years went by, John's English improved. He started helping his teacher with small tasks, like translating for other students who struggled. His confidence grew, and so did his dreams. One day, John saw a poster in the school hallway. It was about a scholarship for underprivileged students to study abroad. The application required an essay in English. John's hands shook as he picked up the application form. He thought, "Can I really do this?" For weeks, John worked on his essay. He wrote about his life, his struggles, and his dreams. When he finally submitted it, he felt like he had given a piece of his soul. Then came the waiting. Days turned into weeks, and John almost lost hope. But one evening, a letter arrived at their tiny home. It was addressed to John. His hands trembled as he opened it. The words on the paper made his heart race. "Congratulations, you have been selected for the scholarship." John couldn't believe it. He ran to his mother, who was washing clothes outside. "Ma," he shouted, tears streaming down his face. "I did it. I got the scholarship." His mother dropped everything and hugged him tightly. She didn't say a word, but her tears said everything. The scholarship covered everything: tuition, housing, and even food. For the first time in his life, John stepped out of the slum and into a new world. It wasn't easy. He had to work harder than ever to catch up with the other students. But John's struggles had made him strong. Years later, John graduated with honors. He got a job at a big company and started earning more money than he ever imagined. The first thing he did was buy a small, comfortable house for his mother and brother. He filled it with everything they had ever dreamed of: soft beds, a fridge full of food, and even a television. On his mother's birthday, John gave a speech in perfect English. "Ma, you are my hero," he said, holding her hand. "You taught me the value of hard work and love. Everything I am today is because of you." His mother cried, but this time they were tears of happiness. His brother Sam looked up at John with pride. John's story spread far and wide. People started calling him the boy who turned struggle into success, but John always stayed humble. "If you have a dream," he would say, "never give up on it. Struggles are hard, but they make you stronger. Believe in yourself, and one day you will achieve more than you ever imagined." So remember John's story. No matter where you start in life, your end can be beautiful. Keep working, keep learning, and never stop believing. If this story inspired you, like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and don't forget to subscribe for more heart-touching stories. Let's spread hope together.